Hello, FMEers. How are you doing? Hope things are going well for you. You might remember last week I created a video about creating a tooltip and an FME generated report. The reason I was doing that was basically because I had a Google spreadsheet and I wanted to take that spreadsheet and display it to people in a certain way that was nice and condensed, and it had the little pop-up window like this, so they could hover on that and it would be nicely condensed table, but they would see that long list of information if they wanted. But the other thing I wanted to do was to let the user sort the data by whatever they wanted to. And that was important because what I really was trying to do when I originally created this was I had the Google spreadsheet, and I wanted people to be able to view it and sort it and all of that, but I didn't want to give them access directly to that sheet. And so I thought, well, hey, I can do an FME report, and maybe I can let them sort that. So I'm going to add the sorting into this report today. And I wanted to show this because I think it's a really interesting thing that we can do in Server about a workspace that can call itself with a different user parameter. So that's what I'm going to do right now. And then, so I'll update the workspace, I'll load it to Server, I'll show how the sorting works, I'll show how generally sorting works in a Server app, and then what I'll do is I'll create a different way of running this workspace, which I think is way better. So anyway, let's just get on to that. So here's my workspace. I've got a few extra transformers up here. I was just experimenting with something earlier, and we'll need to come back to that. So what am I going to do? Well, I'm going to add a... Actually, I'm going to look at what the attributes are called, because I want to put a sorter in here. Because I want to sort the data into a particular order before we create that HTML report. I think I could create a user parameter directly from here, but I don't think it comes out too well in Server. Plus, I don't want everybody to be able to select all of the attributes to sort by. I want to make them specific attributes. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to create my own user parameter. I think we can get rid of all of the ones that are on there because I don't need the user to be able to set the source and destination. So I'm going to add a choice. Now I'm going to add this. I'm going to call it sort by attribute. Select and to sort by. You'll see in a minute why the prompt really doesn't matter too much. Now I've got to figure out what we are sorting by, and it's, I think, total population 2001, and I'm just going to give it a 2001 population. Then the other one is total population 2010, I think. Actually, I can just flip back to here and see, 2011. Then we've got address count as well. So I'm going to put number of addresses, and I think it's actually called num addresses. Okay, so those are my three choices. I'm going to say it's a drop down, it's required. I'm going to disable attribute assignment because we don't need to be assigning it to an attribute. Not that it would make a difference, we're not going to be using that. The other one, actually, we can sort by is the neighborhood name. I'm going to have to exit out and find. Okay, so it's called neighborhood name. Oops. I want to be adding it to my user parameter. got to check if there's an O, if there's a U in neighborhood. No, there's not. Of course there's not. If there's a 50-50 choice, I'm bound to get it wrong. I think that's the law. Okay, there we go. So we have that. Now I can go into the sorter and say sort by user parameter, sort by. And we'll just go with natural ascending order for now. So what that means is I should be able to rerun this workspace and say I'd like to sort this data by the 2001 population. And if I now go back to here and hit refresh, there we go, it's sorted by 2001. 2011 should be a different order, so why don't we just run that? Rerun 2011. See what we get. So this is the simple part of the sorting, really. So 2011, we should find that downtown is the one with the highest population, and there it is. And we could sort by address count or even neighborhood name as well. So let's just make sure that's working. So yeah, so this is the very basic part of sorting the data. And what I'm going to do next is MSW. There we go. Yeah, and we've still got the hover works more or less okay. So what I'm going to do now is I'm going to save this workspace, and then I'm going to publish it to FME Server. And it's a data streaming, and I hit publish. So if I go into my FME server, I should be able to run that workspace. In fact, what I should be able to do is create a server app to run the workspace. But I guess the point of this is I hit the run button, I get this streaming. That's not so good. I wonder why that's failed. Did I not upload the data? Cannot find a path specified. Okay. Maybe it needs to be a... Maybe I need to zip it. Send to compress zip folder. GDB. So you can tell that I'm actually just doing this as I go because that's just my cat, in case you're wondering. She's bouncing around a window chasing a fly. So okay, so that worked okay. Now let's see if I can publish that back to server. And data, oh, hang on, we need to make sure we upload the files. See, for some reason it's including a whole bunch of parks data that I don't need. We don't need the JSON, we don't need the PDF, the XFD, or the zip. There we go. And publish. Let's hope this time it should work. So we'll go with 2011 population, hit the run button. There we go. So yeah, that works fine. But the problem is now, if I'm the end user looking at this, I'm like, oh, okay, that was sorted by that 2011 population. How do I sort by 2001 or something? Well, I don't have any buttons for that. All I can do is sort of hit the back button and come back to here, and it's really not what I want to be doing, and it's not what I I wanted the end user to have to do either. So what I'm going to do is, I got to remember how I do this. I want to find the webhook for this, which probably comes under here. There we go, create a webhook to let external software run that workspace. I'm going to create a webhook, and you should be able to see this webhook has the sort by attribute on there. So I'm creating that webhook, clicking OK. I'll download the webhook, I guess. I don't really need it. All I need is this token in here. And actually, to be honest, what I really need is this string there. So I'm going to copy that. So what I'm going to do now, I mean, basically, I can run that workspace now. I can just paste and go, and it should run that. And if I change the sort by attribute to be, what was it, population 2011, is that what it was? Was that right? I can't remember offhand. Where are we? User parameters. Total population. There we go. So I got that wrong. Total population 2011. And there we go. It's sorted by that. So I know the sort's working. I know that link's working. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to go back into my workspace here. And I'm going to go into the HTML report generator. And in the table, I am going to go into here, open up the text editor, and I'm going to put a HTML tag in here pointing to that thing there. So that should point straight to the neighborhood name, and that will go to the neighborhood, and that should be good. I can do the same thing here. All I need to do is change neighborhood name to total population 2001. Okay, on that one. Open the text editor. Oh, I guess I'm doing this sort of slightly wrong, because I need to I need to put the tag around it. So just a second while I do that. That's on that one. I got to go back and fix this one, I think. Where are we? And so on and like that. Okay, well, let's run that locally and see what we get. So the local report is not that one. The local file is this one. What do we get? Ooh, I get this. Why do I get that? Well, I get that because I'm not using a custom HTML option in the HTML report generator. And basically, if I select that and look at the source code, you'll see it says ampersand less than, ampersand semicolon, ampersand greater than, ampersand less than. So basically FME's replaced that with its own encoding because it's not letting me inject HTML directly into there. So that's where these transformers come in. And this is the bit I pre-made earlier because it took me a while to figure out what the regular expression is to replace something. So I mean, it's basically this very weird piece of regular expression, and that will look up less than characters and replace them with less than, and so on. And I think I have to, so I've got less than, greater than. This one is the quote character, and this one is going to be the amp, because I noticed there was an ampersand in there. So what that should do is, if I run that and refresh this, it should turn it back into proper HTML. And there we go. And so now I can sort the data just by clicking on that. And you'll notice down in the bottom left of the screen, I can't move my mouse down there, but it says blue sky blah blah blah, sort by total population 2001, total population 2011, sort by neighborhood name. Okay, at the moment this is a local report and it's pointing to the one on server, which isn't quite set up yet because I haven't saved this and republished it. So now I save and I hit republish, and now I don't even have to go through server to get this report. I can use the local one and say, okay, I'd like to sort by 2001 population, and that's going to hit the server, return this sorted by population, and now I don't have to hit the back button to do anything with it. I can say, oh, let me sort by 2011 instead. Oh, let me sort by the neighborhood. There we go. So, and we should still have the tooltip running there. So this was how basically this data wasn't a spreadsheet, but in my original project that I was working on, it was a Google sheet of information like this with a whole bunch of numbers. I wanted to present it to people in such a way that they could sort the data without having to go into the spreadsheet and without having to use the back button. And so this is what I came up with. And so basically I'm pushing HTML into the report that refers back to the same workspace, running it on server using a webhook. And that's how this is working. And it's remarkably straightforward. The only problem I had, like I said, was with these string replacers. You have to, because FME encodes the string to be a proper text string that isn't interpreted as HTML, I'm going to have to make it interpreted as HTML. And you can see why FME would do that, because if the header that I got in my table was lists of parks and rec with an ampersand, you'd want FME to encode that. You wouldn't want it to be an actual ampersand, because that would come out wrong in the HTML. It's just in this case, I do actually want it to be to come out as HTML. So that's what I had to do there. And I guess what I need to do just for this last one is change this to address count, and I've got to change it on here, and I think it was address count, or was it num addresses, or was it num address? I'm going to have to look that up and come back to that. Oh, num addresses, there we go, we're fine. So again, once I make a change here, I can save it, republish to server, and now to get it to come back, all I have to do is click on something to run this. And we should have, there we go, address count. So I can click on there now and sort by that. Yeah, so I've made a way of creating a report. The user doesn't have to even use an FME server app. We just use the results of this one workspace with a webhook back to itself that uses a different parameter value. So instead of sort by num addresses, this one says sort by population, and so on. Yeah, so that's how I I did that. So yeah, I hope that's been useful. I guess the one thing that's lacking on here is if I wanted to sort in the reverse direction. I guess I could just put that in the... well, I would probably need to publish that as a parameter in the sort order, ascending or descending. And then in the HTML report generator, I could just have two of these. Instead, I could say, there's my one link, and there's my other link, and sort by neighborhood name, and direction or whatever it is equals reverse, something like that. Then I'd get two links, and I could pick which one I wanted. And I guess it doesn't have to even be a name, it could just be a little icon or something like that. So yeah, that's how that works. Hopefully that was interesting for you. Thanks for watching this video all the way through to the end. I will put this on the FME community site, and I hope you find that useful there as well.